In this video, I'm going to show you how to knit the chevron seed stitch. Now, like the name suggests, this stitch has a nice chevron stitch pattern and it's created using purl bumps or seeds on a stockinette background. So the background of the fabric is stockinette, and then you've got these little purl bumps or seeds on the front of the work that create this really cute little chevron texture. Now, the fact that it's worked on a stockinette background means that this stitch is not reversible. So if I turn it over, you can see that it does not have that same defined texture on the back of the work as it does on the front. So this is not a stitch for those of you who are looking for something that looks identical on both sides. It's a nice short 4-row repeat worked over an 8-stitch pattern repeat, so it's nothing too complicated to get to grasp with, even if you are more of a beginner knitter. So without further ado, grab your needles and let's get knitting. The pattern multiple for chevron seed stitch is 8 stitches, so that means that you need to cast on a number of stitches that is a multiple of 8. For this tutorial, I'm just going to cast on a very small sample of 32 stitches, but you can cast on as many or as few stitches as you like. I'm going to use the long tail cast on method, but you can use the cast on method that you feel most comfortable with. Your odd numbered rows form the right side of your work, so row 1 is a right side row, and anytime you are working an odd numbered row, you should have the right side of your work facing you. That will become more obvious after you've worked a couple of repeats. For row 1, you are going to repeat a 4-stitch repeat all the way across the row, and that 4-stitch repeat goes as follows. You are going to purl 1 stitch and then knit 3 stitches. Once more, you're going to purl 1 stitch and then knit 3 stitches. And you're going to repeat that all the way along your row, and you should be able to comfortably fit in full repeats all the way across the row. So that means you should end your row on a knit 3. For row 2, we are going to work an 8-stitch repeat across the row, and you are going to start by knitting 1 stitch. And then you're going to purl the next 5 stitches. And then you're going to knit 1 stitch and purl 1 stitch. That's your 8-stitch repeat. So just once more, you are going to knit 1 stitch, purl the next 5 stitches, and then you're going to knit 1 stitch and purl 1 stitch. And you're going to repeat those 8 stitches all the way across your row, and you should be able to complete your repeat as you end the row. So you should end on that final purl one. Row 3 starts by knitting 2 stitches. Next, you're going to purl 1 stitch. And now we're going to jump into a 4-stitch repeat that we're going to repeat across until 1 stitch before the end of the row. And that repeat goes as follows. You are going to knit 3 and purl 1. That's knit 3 and purl 1. And you're going to repeat that all the way across until 1 stitch before the end of the row, and you should hit that point after you've worked a purl 1. This final stitch before the end of the row, you just want to knit. Row 4 is the last row of our repeat, and you are going to work the following 8 stitches all the way across your row. You're going to start by purling 2. Then you are going to knit 1, purl 1, and knit 1 more. And then you are going to purl 3. So just once more for you, that's purl 2, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 3. And you're going to repeat that all the way along your row, and you should end your row on the purl 3. So you should work your purl 3 to finish your row. So that's your 4-row repeat, and you would now carry on and repeat these 4 rows as many times as you need until the project is the size that you want it to be. Now if you want your project to match top and bottom and you want a completed chevron at the top of your work, I have a small tip. When you are ready to finish off your work, work row 1 once more. So you're going to repeat your 4-row repeat as many times as you need, work row 1 once more, and then instead of working a row 2, you are going to cast off your work knitwise with the wrong side facing you. So you'll work your row 1 and then turn your work and cast off knitwise. Just a couple of things to mention before I leave you to your knitting. As with all stitches that are based on a stockinette background, the sides of this stitch pattern can have a habit of curling inwards when you work it. For that reason, on this project, I have added a 2-stitch selvage, and if you want to do that with your work, all it means that you need to cast on 4 extra stitches after your multiple of 8, and then you are going to knit the first 2 and the last 2 stitches of each row. That will give you this nice neat little selvage, and it will help your work to lay flat. For those of you that prefer to have some written instructions, as always I have left full free written instructions on my blog, and that also has a link to this video tutorial, so you can bookmark that and come back to it whenever you need to. I'll leave you with another stitch pattern that I think you might like to learn, and I'll see you again for another video soon.